Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Proline, the longest-running sports handicapping show in America. It is Friday. I'm John Cranton in Las Vegas, joined by world champion handicapper Jim Feist. Got some more preseason NFL games to look at. First, Jim, 3-1 in the NFL last night. That's 4-1 for the entire week at 80%. And a couple of big plays. Plus, you have another big Game of the Month winner going tonight.
You're right, John. I'll take 80% all year. I think everybody out there will. Let's say we bet 1,000 a game at the end of the week. We are up real good money, and that's what we have to go for. We build our bankrolls, and we start building up those. When we build the bankroll, we start increasing the bets, and we start making more and more as the season goes on. And that's what's going to happen. I know it. I've done it before, and I'm going to do it again. My NFL preseason blowout of the month goes Friday. $25 online and half price when you plug in Jim 50 at the checkout point. That's right. You get it for half price. Jim 50 gets you the half price discount.
All right, it's a big weekend coming up. We're going to talk about the 49ers and Chiefs game for Friday, as well as the Raiders-Cardinals game going on Saturday. First, the big news, though, in the NFL is the Elliott suspension with the Dallas Cowboys, 6 games. And if you look at those first 6 games, only one of them is in division play. But even so, that division games are important. And the Cowboys, the last 2 years, 3-3 in NFC East division play, winning the division last year, but it has been a competitive division. And when he's not your average Bear as a running back either, because the guys behind him last season, Alfred Morris and Darren McFadden, they averaged 3.5 and 3.6 yards per carry. And that was a great offensive line Dallas had. The thing that's surprising to me, though, Jim, is that first game against the Giants, it's only dropped 1 point from 5 to 4 on Dallas. So, again, if it was a quarterback, it would be different, but not so with running backs.
Well, 5 to 4. 5 is, generally considered almost a dead number. I mean, no number is 100% dead. But 5 to 4, I'm going to say they're at a live number with 4. 5, really doesn't matter unless it lands 4 and you're taking the dog. You're getting +5, you win the bet. So it's, mostly a dead number, but not fully. Dallas has had some other issues off the field during the off season. I don't look at Dallas as the winner of this division, honestly. I think there's a couple other teams in there that can do some damage.
Yeah, I would agree with you because even beyond Elliott, they lost a lot of guys from last season when everything went their way. Okay, let's take a look at one of the Friday NFL preseason games. We got the 49ers heading to the middle of the country to play the Kansas City Chiefs. Kind of a big number here for preseason games. Chiefs went from 4 to 5 with a total of 38. 49ers rebuilding under head coach Kyle Shanahan. And, there's a lot to rebuild with this team. Jim, just think back 5 years ago, this San Francisco organization, loaded with talent, they were in the Super Bowl. They were on the way to being the Super Bowl in August. And just 4 years ago, they got to the NFC title game. Boy, have they imploded from top to bottom these last few years.
They imploded, John, and everybody I think out there knows that it's because of ownership. Ownership on this team is absolutely horrendous. They when they have it all, they don't understand how to keep it. They had Harbaugh, they had Kaepernick, who was playing decent at the time, and before that they had Alex Smith. Now, Alex Smith is with the Kansas City Chiefs now. But when you look back at Alex Smith over the years, this guy has had a tremendous completion rate and a tremendous win rate in the games that he starts. And they got rid of him for Kaepernick. Harbaugh did that. I thought it was a mistake at the time. I thought it was a slap in the face to dump a guy that was winning 70% of his games and with a 70+% completion rate. Yes, he was conservative. Yes, he didn't like to stretch the field much. But that was his style. But it's a winning style. But like I said, the top management here, the top ownership here for this team, it goes back to the Bartolo days and the rift between the brother and the sister and all that. Kyle Shanahan. Let's talk about Kyle Shanahan. He is now a head coach at San Francisco 49ers. This is the guy that had a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl and just called the worst game plan plays ever the most embarrassed coach in the history of the NFL. That is Kyle Shanahan, and now he needs to lead himself out of the embarrassment pit. I'm not a big fan. I don't know if he's going to be a good head coach, but the 49ers have a lot of rebuilding to do. The Chiefs are solid. Problem is with the Chiefs, their head coach doesn't really give a darn about winning preseason games. He really hasn't. Now, the motivation here definitely is with the 49ers. They need to reestablish that they can do anything on a football field, and that has yet to be seen. It's the problem is this is an uncappable or an incapable or whatever word you want to use. I can't bet this game. I can't bet this game with your money, John.
Well, I heard that you were president of the Kyle Shanahan fan club. There's no truth to that?
It's a little overrated.
Just a bit. Well, I don't like the quarterback play in this one. Brian Hoyer, Barkley, and C.J. Beathard for the rebuilding Niners. And then the Chiefs, they have a better rotation with Bray coming in. Alex Smith's going to play about the first quarter. And then Andy Reid said Bray is going to take over in the second. And then the rookie, Patrick Mahomes, a lot of Kansas City fans will be watching him, the high draft pick. He'll be in the third. And then Joel Stave in the fourth. Still not an electric quarterback rotation. Keep in mind, in week one a year ago, Andy Reid used 5 quarterbacks. He's a guy who historically likes to use everybody to check on his depth. So all in all, I can't really see a lot of offense, probably more field goals than touchdowns. And keep in mind the 49ers in week one of preseason 5-0 under the total. All right, let's go to a Saturday game.
Let's stay there for a minute because there's something to be said there. The line opened this game, Kansas City. One place open 4.5, another place open 3.5. The 4.5 has stayed, the 3.5's gone up to 4. These are key shops. So we'll focus on those because that's where they matter, the bigger bets, the bigger players. The total's 37, has gone up to 38, go to 37.5, maybe a little under money there. I don't know, if you notice, this isn't the preseason so far has shown enough over bets and enough movement the way some of these teams have played. I don't know. There's not enough talent on this team, and there's not enough motivation to score points. This is just a game I cannot bet, total or side.
And we'll pass on that one. And there's a more interesting battle as far as offensive personnel for Saturday. Oakland Raiders against the Arizona Cardinals. And one of the things we've been talking about this week is interest, motivation. Do teams want to play? And here's a situation where the Oakland Raiders, I mean, they're off that terrific season where everything went their way, a nice winning campaign. And they do have some injuries for the preseason with Amari Cooper and Khalil Mack not playing, and Donald Penn is still holding out. But still, it's a decent rotation. Derek Carr, Connor Cook, and the newcomer E.J. Manuel. And then you got an Arizona Cardinal team that was supposed to be great last season. And boy, did they have everything go wrong. Stat-wise, they were actually really strong, but they didn't have a winning record last season. So and it's also unusual in that the Raiders, it's the first game. The Arizona Cardinals, Jim, they already have one game under their belt, so this is their week 2.
Well, it is, and that's a big plus in my mind, having a game that you have had one under your belt versus a team that hasn't. I don't see really any motivation here for the Oakland Raiders at all. The game opened Oakland. One place opened at 1 Oakland, and another place opened at 3 Arizona. So I mean, you're really seeing a difference of opinion. It opened 39.5. It's now settled at 3. Arizona 3, 39.5 with a lean to the over. There's a lot of potential here for scoring because, as we saw last week, Gabbert played pretty well, was able to move the ball. David Johnson's a horse. They're going to depend on him a lot during the regular season. I don't think he's going to get too much work. And I doubt you're going to see Carson Palmer much at all because he is a little older. And what you're probably going to see is Drew Stanton, who really knows this offense and can play. So between Stanton and Gabbert, and you look at backups for the Raiders, you do have Connor Cook and E.J. Manuel. Both guys have played enough football in this league to know how to pick apart a second and third string defense that you're going to probably see in the second half. And that's probably why we're seeing a little bit of touch on the over. And if I was going to play this game, I would probably go with that line move. It makes sense looking at the backups, looking at the fact that Arizona has had that game under their belt. I'm not saying I would lay the 3, but I would lean that side, and I would definitely lean the over.
Yeah, I concur on the over. Much more offensive talent on both sides of the ball. Plus, Cardinals are going to open it up. And as you mentioned, Blaine Gabbert, he did play pretty well last week, and you combine him with Stanton, who's going to play the second quarter. Palmer, they say, is going to play the first quarter, and then Gabbert. That's a decent, above-average quarterback rotation. Keep in mind, Arizona just 1-4 straight up and against the spread the last 5 preseason games. All right, we have plays available online, too. Jim, your Inner Circle baseball releases 43-27-1 sizzling run there. You had the the St. Louis Cardinals yesterday, and they cashed. In addition, you had your first Inner Circle NFL release. That was the Cleveland Browns. But the Browns actually won a game, Jim. How did that happen?
Well, it'll be one of the few that they do during the season. I mean, if they played the Jets every week, they'd probably go 16-0. But they're not going to play the Jets every week. They're going to run into the Bengals a couple times. They're going to run into the Ravens a couple times and the Steelers a couple times. Now, I don't say they're going to go 0-6 in those games because some of those teams have some issues too, but they might go 1-5. Yes, I have free plays up.
That's right. Another must is Jim's NFL preseason blowout game of the month for Friday. Jim is 4-1, 80% with NFL preseason this week. Make sure you check that out as well. And we will be back on Monday to assess what happened in Week 1 and get you prepared for Week 2 of the NFL preseason. We'll see you then Monday on Proline.